God is too small a term, because God comes with lots of baggages, right? Lots of baggage of whatever you were taught when you were growing up, and or even just when you were a kid and you tried to imagine it. We can't imagine what that is. It's so big. But love, that's an energy. It's a power that we can use. And when we align with that love, we come in from the storm. Because we all know what it's like to have a storm inside of us, right? Those thoughts that are in our mind that tell us, like Elaine's beautiful story about her car, and she's upside down, and what's she going to do? Suddenly she's not going to have a car, and what's life going to be without that? And oh my gosh, and there's a storm brewing in her head. And we've all done that. And we can get caught in that loop instead of realizing that, oh wait, there's so much more possibility here. If we are the beloved guest of life, and life is just bringing us in so tenderly, the way a mother holds a child, then maybe there's a greater possibility for us. And as love expressing, this is what we get to do here in the world. We get to be those opening arms that embrace others. When we said our mission statement at the beginning, this is a statement that we have consciously chosen. So there's the part of what we're here to do, which is to embody love and awaken spiritual consciousness. And there's the part which is who we're here to be. Vibrant and welcoming, prosperous and multi-generational. So part of the consequence of that is that when we look around here, just look around now at this group that's here, all different ages, and there's a lot of youngers that are out there partying with their costumes on, but there's all different ages, there are different ethnicities, people come in all sizes and shapes. Some are here for the very first time, some have been here from the first day we ever opened our doors. But all of us have value here. And so we want to welcome one another. And as a community, whenever we claim something, then it's important to walk our talk, right? So if we claim that we're welcoming, we each need to ask ourselves, what am I doing to be welcoming to one another? And what are we as a culture? How have we got it set up? I had an experience recently where I was part of a group, and I said, well, I don't really feel welcome here. Like, it's like there's some unwritten rules that nobody shared with me. And so then when I step forward and I try to do something, it's like, no, you can't do that. I mean, nobody literally slapped my hand, but it was, I felt like they did. And so I think we have to be careful, because not out of malicious intention, but out of habit, we create customs. And those of us who are in the know what the customs are. But then the people that are new don't. And we don't stop and think, what would it be like for somebody who's new here? I heard the most powerful story from Reverend Richard Held, who is the minister of Unity in Linwood up in the Seattle area. And he was telling me that he came to some, I think it might have been a memorial service, but it was some service he came to at a different church from his own. And in this particular sanctuary, they had pews, the hard wooden pews, for those of you who remember that. they're not designed for comfort, right? That probably wasn't one of the values in choosing pews. So anyway, he's sitting in this pew and he's trying to get comfortable, and he's not very comfortable. And he notices all of a sudden some other people, they go over to some closet, and they open the closet door, and they start bringing out these pillows. And they bring pillows for them to sit on. Nobody came to him and said, "Would you like a pillow?" Those pillows were just for the people in the know. And then he said, whoever was hosting the platform got up and said, "Well, you all know who I am." He didn't. And so there's subtle little messages like that. It seemed like there were a couple more details. They're inside jokes and references that we get comfortable with one another. Nobody does this out of maliciousness. No, it's not like in middle school where you're whispering to this kid over here and making sure that kid is excluded, and you're actually doing that on purpose. Some of us can remember doing mean things like that, right? Because we're just growing, and we haven't been cultivated to say, there is no stranger. If you don't recognize that person, it's your job to bring them in. Just because that kid looks weird to you doesn't mean they have no value. So most of us grow out of that phase, and we're much more gracious to people that we don't know. But we can still fall into that trap. Somebody can look different from us, or have a name that sounds unusual. Or maybe they come with some issue that we have judgments about. And so we are kind of inclined to just walk the other way and leave them over there. And that's just not okay, because that's not what love would do. Love doesn't have an outside. Love only has a circle that we're all part of. When we're here on a Sunday morning, it's important for us to think about what's the experience like for those people who are here for the first time. And today, just like every day, we have a number of people that are here for the first time, that are coming in seeking shelter from the storm. And we are here to be that shelter. It's so easy, because one of the great things about this place is we get to know each other. And so we come in and we see our friends and say, "Oh my God, I haven't seen you all week." And we're so excited. And we want to talk to them. And those of us who like to talk to us, talk. And meanwhile, that person that is new doesn't really know how to get into the, who wants to come in and say, "Excuse me, I'm new, will you talk to me?" Nobody's going to do that. Yeah, well, you might, Melissa, but most of us just feel kind of shy, even when we're outgoing people. When we're in a group of people that we don't know and we feel like we're the stranger, it's hard to know how to come in. So it becomes our wonderful gift that we get to give. If we look around, and if there's someone we don't recognize, to say, "Hi, I don't think I've met you before," or say, "I don't remember meeting you before," because some of us forget that we met you. if we met you last week, we have a fighting chance of remembering you next week. But, the last time you were here was 6 months ago. Cut us some slack if we say, I don't think I've met you. So it's just really, it's such a beautiful gift that we get to give. Because we don't know the storm that is in other people's lives. We don't know if they're stepping into church for the first time in 30 years with great trepidation. Do you know what the origin, the etymological origin of church is? It's a Celtic word, kirka, and it means a swelling. Isn't that beautiful? It makes me want to use the word church again. I tend to prefer community, but it's a swelling of energy, a swelling of love. That's what church is designed to be. Take that thought in for a minute. A swelling of love. We have some structures that we put in place here. For example, spirit groups are a structure. It's you join in a spirit group and you meet for about 7 weeks in someone's home, and it's a group of 6 to 8 people. And you study some material and you do community service together and you share food, and they're wonderful, those groups. And this is a way, it's a structure that allows us to bring in a person who's new. So, whether it's someone who's come here once, or someone who hasn't made it here yet, or someone who's been coming for a while, we create these groups. And they come together for a while, and then they dissolve, but we end up with friends as a result of that. So this is not so bad, hearing that phone go off now and reminding all of us because during the meditation service, as we were walking through the woods, somebody's phone went off singing the theme song from Mr. Ed, the talking horse. It was really interesting. We say we're all welcome here, so Mr. Ed, come on in. So those spirit groups are a structure, and that's something that we can all, if we take that seriously, we have to look at structures for how do people feel welcome. They feel welcome if somebody greets them and not just says, oh, hi, how are you, what's your name? And then moves right on. But actually stops and listens, draws them out, is curious about who are you and what brought you here, wants to know about your journey, doesn't have someplace else that they have to rush off to. That's important. So that's one way people feel welcome, but being invited to do something with you. Go get a cup of coffee. Come to see the Fierce Grace spiritual movie on Sunday. Saturday. I'm taking my screwing up with dates to a whole new level. Trust me, that's one thing you need to know about me. If I tell you a date, question it. If I didn't have Joanne, we'd all be in so much trouble because Joanne is wonderful with details and she keeps me on track. Just me. Maybe you too. Anyway, but if we get involved in spirit groups, if each one of us takes that seriously and say, okay, I'll host, I'll do the training, I'll host a group, and then you sign up for the group and you take it seriously and you come to the group that you signed up for, then we become these circles of welcome. And it makes so much more vibrancy in our community. People feel it when they walk in the door. I hear this all the time. We don't ever want anybody to walk away thinking there's no place for you here. If you walk away because it's not a fit for you, that's fine. But if you walk away because you don't know how to fit in, we've failed. We have to take that seriously. There are no strangers here. Only friends we haven't met, and it's our job to meet. Everybody has a place at our table. In the case of the foyer, you might be standing up, but that's okay. It's problems to have, you know. I remember when we only had 20 people on a Sunday morning, and that was only 8 years ago. So as we keep growing, there's more and more people that we get to welcome into the circle. So let's take this out in our community. Let's take it out into every place we go and see where we can be a welcoming, radiating force of love. Okay, thank you.